The International Trust Organization, INTO, in cooperation with the Indonesian Heritage Trust, BPPI, Badan Pelestarian Pusaka Indonesia, hosted the 17th International Conference of National Trust, ICNT, in Gianyar, Bali, Indonesia, on 11 to 15 September 2017. "200 participants from 31 countries participated in this conference. The opening of the conference held on Monday, September 11, 2017 at Mascheti Beach. The ceremony began with the vibrant Balinese performances, with young performers treating the guests to a modern-day presentation of this age-old Balinese heritage practice.
Nearly a quarter of its forests. At current rates, it could lose all remaining forests by 2056. Many of these forests have been turned into rubber, palm oil, and palm plantations. This economic activity provides people with short-term income, but it also
Simultaneous with the performance, flags parade were represented the 31 delegate countries. Following the singing of Indonesian anthem, the chairperson of Indonesian Heritage Trust, Chatrini Pratihari Kubontubo, delivered her speech as a report as chair of the organizing committee of the 17th ICNT.
I also would like to sincere my gratitude from our local community here, the Balinese experts, the guru that work a lot for heritage conservation here. We see here also we are not only the senior people or senior citizens who talk about heritage, but we have also our group of youth, young people, also contribute and participate in our conference. And this is also the first time for the big conference in Indonesia held not in the 5-star hotel, but we very proud to have this conference is held in the village. So maybe a big applause for Bupati Gianyar. We try to promote the place that is really close to the communities in the village, the place that we can learn together, the place that we can sharing what we are doing in another continent, and then we can find a lot of things similar to say how we save the earth, from the environment sustainability, and how we continue the culture that is inherited from our ancestors.
The speech by the Regent of Gianyar, His Excellency Anak Agung Gede Agung Barata, warmly welcomed the delegates with much gratitude.
Selamat datang kepada 200 peserta dari 31 negara yang akan melakukan kegiatan diskusi dan berbagi pengalaman tentang beragam tantangan maupun cerita sukses dalam dunia pelestarian selama 5 hari di depan ini. Topik konferensi sangat sesuai dengan kehidupan kelestarian masyarakat Bali serta komunitas adat lainnya di Indonesia, yaitu memberikan apresiasi yang sangat tinggi kepada keseimbangan hidup, khususnya hubungan manusia dengan pencipta, hubungan manusia dengan manusia, serta hubungan manusia dengan alam sekitar.
The participation of young generations is also appreciated by the President of INTO, Dame Fiona Reynolds.
It is so wonderful to see so many young people inspired by the beauty and the heritage of their country and helping us today.
Following the welcoming speech from INTO President, warm welcome was spoken by the Chairman of Board of Trustees of Indonesia Heritage Trust, Mr. Hashim Joyhadikusumo.
So, once again, thanks to all of you for coming a long way. Some of you from Bolivia, from Cayman Islands, from the Vancouver Island, very, very far away from Indonesia. And on behalf of the committee, on behalf of the Regency, the government of the Regency of Bali, a warm thanks, a warm welcome, and also thanks to all of you. Thank you very much.
In modern times that possess a variety of threats and challenges to conservation practice, all speakers express the need to explore these issues together and share experiences toward practical and concrete solutions. All express their hopes for good outcome. As too with keynote speaker Dennis Ricard, Secretary General of the Organization of World Heritage Cities, based in Quebec, Canada.
And in the field of heritage, conversation without power, and conservation without power is just conversation. That's all you need. You can talk about it. You need politicians, you need them on board. And this is why I am so happy to see here having a mayor, a region who is so involved and has proven before and keep on proving his interest in the field of heritage.
At the peak of the ceremony, the region Gianyar received certificate for Gianyar as member of the Organization of World Heritage Cities handed by the OWHC Secretary General, Mr. Dennis Ricard. Gianyar became the third city in Indonesia, followed by Surakarta and Denpasar, as a member of the Organization of World Heritage Cities. After the ceremony officially opened, by all delegates playing together otok-otok, the traditional music instruments, many more of Balinese treasured cultural traditions were to be showcased, including cockfighting, releasing 200 baby turtles into the sea, and traditional kites flying. The delegates given an opportunity to participate in flying traditional kites, or in Bali known as melayangan. The tradition of flying kite in Bali is closely related to folklore, which is believed to be the manifestation of Lord Siva, which is named as Rare Angon. The occasion continued in Subak Museum with the opening of photo exhibition of Gianyar Heritage City and the richness of Indonesian heritage as a result of photo competition during ICNT warming activities. After lunch, the INTO Congress held in Wana Ubud Resort. INTO Secretariat presented their annual report. Then the new structure of INTO Executive Committee has been elected for a period of 2017-2019. During this Congress, the INTO Handbook From Startup to Sustainability was launched by Dr. June Taborov and Catherine Leonard. In the welcome dinner, the delegates were greeted with welcoming dance of Gianyar mascot of red hibiscus flower. The Chairman of Board of Trustees of the Indonesian Heritage Trust, Mr. Hashim Jayadiksumo, and his wife welcomed the participants to their beautiful house named Rumah Pancoran in the heart of the village of New Kuning.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be together for the next 4 days. We'll be exchanging ideas on how we can preserve the heritage of the world, of the various 51 countries with us today. I understand that INTO now has 73 members, 73 members, which is amazing, 73 members, and obviously we need to have another 100 members to join us. So that'll take a bit of time, but I'm sure with all our enthusiasm, for the subject, I'm sure we'll be able to recruit all the other countries. So I think that's all I'd like to say. Again, welcome to all of you. I hope you enjoy the cuisine. I hope you enjoy the venue. And I'm sure tonight we'll have a lively conversation.
The governor of Bali, Mada Mangkupastika, delivered his speech of welcome by remembering Bali as a remarkable place to eat, pray, and love. The launching of Heritage app about walking tour in Desa New Kuning was launched by Esther Stekelenburg and Chatrini Kubontubo as a collaboration between Indonesian Heritage Trust and Urban Discover City Walk Hong Kong. The first day of the 17th International Conference of National Trusts nicely closed with delicious food, music, and art performances, and also the participants' interactive dance. The second day of the 17th International Conference of National Trusts took place at Taman Nusa, a newly built cultural park that collected various ethnics in Indonesia from Aceh to Papua. The delegates greeted with Balinese dance before heading to Plenary Hall. Twisted Preservation from New York City, Franklin Vagnone, gave an insightful presentation about the current paradigm shift in preservation practice, with an increasing focus on people and the way they shape and preserve their heritage rather than the outcome.
Now there's things that are missing in the middle, are not buildings, however, they're all of us. They're people, traditions, technologies, wars. And that's what I'm going to talk about. It's this picture here in that child's book that I think is the future of cultural heritage preservation and museums.
On a more theoretical level, Professor Lauranjane Smith from the Australian National University likewise challenged the participant to rethink conceptualizations of heritage and conservation by taking into account the discourses in which they are shaped.
I want to challenge the idea of heritage as material object, site and place. Heritage can be more usefully understood as a subjective political negotiation of identity, place and memory. All heritage is intangible. It's intangible insofar that heritage is a moment or a process of constructing and reconstructing cultural and social values and the meanings that that has for the needs and aspirations of the present.
Following an inspiring tour through Taman Nusa, one of the Bali's most unique cultural attractions that showcase the richness of different ethnic groups throughout Indonesia, delegates split up into 5 groups to attend workshops hosted in traditional houses throughout the park. Each workshops commence with demonstration of distinct Indonesian heritage and craft practices, such as batik, wayang, and sampek. Delegates were also given the opportunity to learn to paint the colorful traditional umbrella. The venue of Group A was Bali and Maluku Traditional House. The location guaranteed intimate session in cozy home settings, allowing for discussion on developing models for the management of heritage places. Meanwhile, Group B took West Sulawesi Traditional House. John de Koning, who led discussion on Group B, said in the case of fundraising, there are only one motto: never give up. Developing business plans for heritage organization was a discussion on Group C. Group D discuss about the intangible heritage. And the last group, Group E, talked about traditional knowledge and local wisdom for a sustainable environment. After all activities were completed at Taman Nusa, the delegates were headed to the Alun-Alun or Grand Square Astina. Region of Gianyar, His Excellency Anak Agung Gede Agung Barata warmly welcomed the arrival of the delegates in the beginning of street art. They enjoyed richness of Balinese art performance and free-tasted Balinese traditional culinary along the street until the edge to Riachte Astina Square.
It's very difficult, but very nice.
This event was contributed by the whole cities in Bali. The climax of this event was 4 performances in 4 stages at Astina Square. The selected art groups from Gianyar performed their magnificent entertainment in the same time at the 4 stages. There were mask dance, barong dance, legong dance, and new creation of kembangiran dance. This kind of performances latest happened in the era of the last king of Gianyar Royal Kingdom, who was the grandfather of the recent region of Gianyar. After this extravaganza art performance, His Excellency Anak Agung Gede Agung Barata, together with President of INTO and Chairperson of Indonesian Heritage Trust, formally opened the folk market in Astina Square. He said that a folk market is very important for people's lives and culture. Therefore, the heritage conservation should be in line with the economy and people welfare.
Kalau zaman dulu ada hal-hal yang penting pasti dia lewat pasar. Artinya pasar itu bermasyarakat, pasar itu kebutuhan sehari-hari. Nah, itu yang saya konsep. Tetapi saya kasih kesenian, itu konsep saya.
This folk market held in 3 days. The participants enjoyed shopping many various Balinese craft and art products.
So we would like to prove this is the richness of Gianyar city as a heritage city, and this is also the contribution of Gianyar to Bali, Indonesia, and to the world. And we will also would like to give our appreciation for other regions and cities that also contribute their art group.
The The second day of the 17th International Conference of National Trust closed with rich experiences of Balinese art performances and art products include culinary and craft. Very different experience on the third day of the 17th International Conference of National Trust. Compared to the previous days, the delegates usually start the day by watching the art performance. Today, the delegates were greeted by the animals. Indonesia's endangered animals such as Sumatran elephants, tapir, Sumatran tiger, rhino, and many more in Bali Safari and Marine Park. Following to that, the 5 parallel workshops were grouped from morning to afternoon session. The theme of workshop for Group A was on advocacy. What do members expect and need from Intel? Group B's workshop themes was on volunteer, developing national standards for their recruitment and rewards. Tom Perigo was the moderator of Group B. He said, "Into has a lot to offer. You don't have to reinvent the wheel." The other 3 workshops themes were how to get young people involved in the heritage movement, national standards for cultural tourism, and creative and environmentally friendly economy. This workshop shared the rich of experiences from representative of 5 continents, including Indonesia's presentation on Bogor, Bali, Trowulan, and other local interesting experiences. The next agenda was Amex Heritage Leadership Panel with the topic, New Strategies for Expanding Our Audiences. During the plenary discussion, panel members discussed new strategies for expanding audiences of National Trust. Central to the presentation and discussion was the paradigm shift in heritage discourse, thereby building on the keynotes that were delivered on Tuesday morning. The expert panels also shared case studies and emerging trends from across the globe around engaging communities is at risk. How private fundraising can deepen and expand connections, ways in which heritage contributes to sustainable, livable communities, and the use of programming and unlikely partnership to challenge perceptions of heritage. In the previous time, Indonesian Heritage Trust, or BPPI, received support from American Express to help the earthquake disaster in Yogyakarta. Following to the plenary discussion, the delegates enjoyed the performances of Indonesian traditional opera called Bali Agung. The delegates were invited to the gala dinner at Puri Gianyar Royal Palace. Puri Gianyar is one of hundreds of heritage that the local government maintains as a cultural heritage. In addition to seeing architecture of the Puri Gianyar that is still preserved as the original building, delegates also received special welcoming and performance of Balinese royal dance, performance dedicated to honored guests. Delegates were amazed by the attractions presented by the Balinese artists stage in Puri Gianyar. After the gala dinner, Regent of Gianyar, His Excellency Anak Agung Gede Agung Barata, gave a traditional Balinese handicraft souvenir in the form of Balinese kipas, or fan, to all delegates. On behalf of Into and all delegates, Fiona also thanked for the hospitality of the region of Gianyar.
I would like to say a very special thank you. This experience for us, and for many of us, our first time in Indonesia and in Bali. We are blown away by the beauty, by the warmth of the welcome, by the tradition, by the dancing, by the sheer wonderful nature of your people. And you have been so generous to us and so welcoming. And Katrini, of course, has done so much work.
Region of Gianyar hoped the event can promote the richness of Gianyar cultural and natural heritage, not only for Indonesia, but also for the world. New Kuning Village was the starting point of the fourth day of the 17th International Conference of National Trust. New Kuning is one of the villages in Ubud area where you can see the real life of Bali still exists and integrate with tourism activities in harmony. The traditions and indigenous cultures are still very well preserved in this village. In sunny morning, the delegates did heritage walk around the New Kuning village. The delegates had the opportunity to see warungs, typical Balinese small shops, the temples or pura, and the daily life of the villagers. Following the heritage walk, workshop on climate change held in Wana Ubud Resort.
I said, how can I go? My people are buried here.
Now people would prefer to migrate together because there is that safety in this. But at the same time, we have to accept that in order to adapt to the new environment, the new communities, we've got to be part of that community. We've got to be able to learn to assimilate the new.
The workshop consists of speakers from champions of climate change around the world, Australia, Cayman Islands, United Kingdom, Fiji, and as well Indonesia. Director General of the Conservation of Natural Resources and Ecosystem from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Wiratno, said that Indonesia has many challenges for climate change issues, mainly collaborating with local authorities.
So far, we have proven that in many cases, working with the local community is one of the effective way to save the forest and the marine, because they have the traditional practice, traditional wisdom, and they are the group that will be directly affected by climate change. It is real. Even right now, if there is a problem of landslide, flooding, or earthquakes, they are the group of people that directly affected of that problem. So our national strategy, besides working with our private sector and the international funding organization, we also work with the local community.
Meanwhile, the chairman of Board of Trustees of Indonesian Heritage Trust, Mr. Hashim Johadikusumo, said we have to push COP23 to anticipate more of climate change to save heritage.
From our experience in Indonesia is what we call the Heritage Emergency Response. I think some of you already know that. I think Catherine, in fact at Clarence's house, we talked about it to Prince Charles, didn't we? It's something that we at BPPI have been doing with some success, modest success, because we are extremely limited in funding. But if this is something that we can apply worldwide and propose to COP23, that in fact let's anticipate more and more disasters and damage to, I don't know what sort of heritage, but I'm sure some heritage sites have been damaged in the Caribbean. I think, Justin, you'll probably be finding out soon.
Besides workshop on climate change, there was also individual presentation on the theme towards environmental sustainability, people and environment in harmony. Part of the delegates gathered on the rooftop of Wana Ubud Resort for an intimate session. Individual presentations were delivered, presenting case studies from all over the world that not only address challenges but also showcase best practices for maintaining and stimulating harmonious relationships between people and the environment in different cultural settings. John de Koning and Emily Drani spoke to the delegates about the need to take into account the cultural rights of ethnic minorities in conservation efforts, as demonstrated by the Batwa people in Africa who were driven from their forests after those who was designated as a national park. Interesting presentations were furthermore delivered by Andita Septiandini. We learned about the importance for holistic approach in our quest for environmental sustainability, like the successful conservation efforts of Sumatran tigers. After lunch, the event continued at Gianyar Botanical Park. At this 18-hectare park, delegates can find tropical epidemic plants of heritage trees in the age of more than 100 years. Vice Regent of Gianyar, Imade Mahayastra, together with the Chairman of Board of Trustees Indonesian Heritage Trust, Hashim Johadikusumo, planted mangosteen tree together. Meanwhile, the other 5 mangosteen trees planted by representatives from 5 continents, Asia, America, Africa, Australia, and Europe. Delegates also released 300 local birds to their habitat. They consisted of bechica, kacamata, gelatik, kutilang, pencit, cerucuk, and many others. After trees planting and birds releasing, the delegates gathered to discuss within each of continent's group. They shared their challenges and success stories, as well as their inputs for the Declaration of Gianyar. The interesting suggestion is to use social media more to invite young people to participate in preserving heritage.
Our youngest delegate in this conference, he suggested that we more actively use social media, and we can even have a Into Youth page for especially the younger generations. And it is also suggested that we do more sharing, especially for like training opportunities or news in different disciplines or different areas, so that we can engage more young people.
Meanwhile, the representative from Caribbean said working with local government is important to preserve the heritage.
We have expressed our support and encouragement to St. Lucia with their continuing issues with the local government there, as the National Trust is pushing very hard to preserve the gains and successes that they have so far and not have them swept underneath the carpet in the push for development. We also expressed our support to those small island states and the United States heavily impacted by the passage of the recent hurricanes in the region, for them to get along once they get through the pressing needs of housing, food and water, to undertake swiftly a survey of the damage to cultural and heritage assets within the islands, so that they don't get bulldozed in the push for redevelopment.
After each continent, representatives submitted the suggestions and inputs. All these suggestions will be formulated to enrich the Gianyar Declaration. The final result of the Gianyar Declarations will be read out at the ICNT closing ceremony. The last day of the 17th International Conference of National Trust took place at Samwantiga Temple and Village Hall. Since early in the morning, the locals prepared to welcome the delegates by wearing beautiful Balinese traditional outfits and friendly smiles. The delegates were also welcomed with the traditional Balinese drink called daluman. Kecak dance performed by all male dancers. The closing of the conference started by a speech from Catrine Kubontugo, chairperson of Indonesian Heritage Trust. Who was also the chair of the ICNT organizing committee. She thanked all the committee, especially BPPI Secretariat, they usually called as BPPI Angels, also Dream Team of young volunteers from Binus School Serpong and the ones from local University of Udayana. She stated that this event could not be happened without all great person behind her. She also thanked the steering committee from INTO, Gianyar Regency and board of BPPI for supporting more than 23 times teleconference among Jakarta, London and Gianyar. In his humble speech, the region of Gianyar, His Excellency Anak Agung Gede Agung Barata said the doors always open for all of the delegates to return to Bali someday and he is ready to be their guide in Gianyar.
Merupakan suatu kebanggaan buat kami bahwa semua delegasi yang ada di sini sungguh-sungguh sangat berkesan di Kabupaten Gianyar. Dan beliau, para delegasi ICNT ini sangat antusias melihat Kabupaten Gianyar. Dan biasanya ada yang sakit, ini sehat semua. Luar biasa, berarti membawa spirit kesehatan di Kabupaten Gianyar. Kami sangat mengharapkan hasil ICNT 2017 ini dapat bermanfaat untuk memberikan masukan dari berbagai solusi permasalahan di lingkungan hidup atau hal-hal yang menyangkut heritage, budaya lokal sesuai dengan apa yang telah dibahas dalam sesi-sesi konferensi ICNT 2017.
The summary of the conference continued with Secretary General of INTO, Catherine Leonard. Catherine said 5 days in Bali went so fast.
I'd like to thank you for your friendship, for inspiring us all, for your presence here in Bali, for your hard work, for your patience and help, without which INTO would not be able to exist. And this conference, it would not have been possible for this conference to have been the success that we all recognize it to be. So, thank you all.
Meanwhile, Hashim Joyadikusumo, the chairman of Board of Trustees of the Indonesian Heritage Trust, congratulated everybody for the spirit and ideas shared during the conference. He asked for the blessing of all delegates for Gianyar Declaration.
This is the reason why the committee asked me to read this to you, to get your blessing. The we Indonesians love to get blessings. You know, restu. We always ask for restu. We pray. We restu, and most often than not, it really works out well. You know, we do get the blessings usually from the Almighty. But today we're going to ask for your approval, your endorsement, and your restu, your blessing for this declaration.
The Gianyar Declaration about cultural sustainability and climate change is one of the important results which comprise of the statements and strategies on cultural sustainability and climate change. This drawn up by BPPI in consultation with INTO, of which it is a member and endorsed by the 200 delegates from 31 countries representing the global heritage community. After the declarations, Oliver Maurice, Director of Membership of INTO, hosted the handover from ICNT 2017 to the host of the next ICNT 2019. The event continued with symbolic of handover of Balinese traditional kites. The region of Gianyar, His Excellency Barata, handed over the INTO's kite to the President of INTO, Dame Fiona. He also handed over the BPPI's kite to the Chairman of Board of Trustees of BPPI, Mr. Hashim Joeri Sumo. Meanwhile, the Chairperson of BPPI, Chatrini, handed over the ICNT's kite to the Chairman of Bermuda National Trust, William White. The host of ICNT 2019, Bermuda National Trust, also handed over a souvenir Chairperson of Indonesian Heritage Trust, Chatrini Pratihari Kubontubo, witnessed by Mr. Hashim Joyahadi Kusumo.
But thank you very much, Ari, and particularly for all your hard work on the committee. It's been fantastic. I mean, honestly, just amazing. Okay, I think it would be appropriate. I know Fiona is going to thank people, but there are people who may get missed, and I just wanted to mention the hotel staff where we've been staying. They're always smiling and always friendly. Fantastic.
The appreciation also came from the host of ICNT 2019, Bermuda. Bermuda is ready to welcome all the delegates in the next 18 months. The closing ceremony conference closed by President of INTO, Dame Fiona Reynolds.
We are all champions of heritage. We all don't need to be persuaded. But there are people out there who do need to be persuaded. And there are also people out there who may care but don't know that there are organisations in which they can be part, places they can go where they'll feel that sense of inspiration. So for us, I think that ambition of reaching out to more people with more diverse backgrounds, but also the harder to reach communities that Emily has been so articulate in championing. This means we have a big job to do. We've done a great job, but the world needs us more than ever. Stand up.
The next day, after the closing ceremony of the 17th International Conference of National Trusts, the delegates had to choose one of 4 tours: Subak Gianyar Tour, Sanur Beach Tour, Old City of Denpasar Tour, and Karangasem Spiritual Tour. Subak Gianyar tour started at Ceking Terrace Rice Field and continued to Subak Pulagan, Tampak Siring district in Gianyar Regency. Subak is a traditional Balinese system for water irrigation management which has been in existence for hundreds of years. This is a manifestation of the Hindu philosophy Trihita Karana, which means the life balance between our respect to the God as a creature of this earth, the tolerance with other human beings, and our harmony with the natural environment. Hence, Subak maintains the ritual as temple related with water sources, the rice field and other plantation, and how the democratic system of this traditional organization is implemented. The participants ended the tour at Tirta Ampul Temple as one of water source of Subak in Gianyar. Meanwhile, the participants of Karangasem Spiritual Tour started their journey by enjoying the clean air by walking through rice fields and irrigation drainage with clear water. Besides seeing Subak, the delegates also enjoyed the vast expanse of yellow flowers called marigold, or gumitir in local Balinese language, and learned to plant paddy together with local farmers. They discuss about how the Subak system works and the crops. In the midday, they went to Besakih Temple, the mother temple of Bali, the center of religious Hindu pilgrimage. The unique atmosphere of Eastern Bali is manifested by the spectacular panoramic views of the cultural landscape heritage combined with Mount Agung, the biggest volcano in Bali, sea harbor, rows of terraced rice fields, and virgin rainforest, complete with the edelweiss and local endemic flowers. Outside the temple, the participant tasted typical Indonesian local fruits such as rambutan, durian, mangosteen, and banana. This tour ended at Mahagiri in village of Rendang, where they served with fried banana named as pisang goreng and enjoyed the magnificent view from the feet of Mount Agung. The delegates seems to be enjoying every tour, and it must be memorable experiences. Bali, Indonesia, to be remembered through this ICNT. Let's safeguard our culture and natural heritage for the future of the world. Matur suksme, terima kasih, thank you.